Rachel.
How are you doing?
Pretty good, actually.
Good. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, you too. How are you?
I'm really well. I'm enjoying the autumnal sunshine.
I know, it's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's really
great
lovely
time
to
of
see you.
year.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So we are at the Autumn Equinox.
Indeed.
So do you want to tell me a little bit about that and perhaps how that might be influencing our well-being and what's going on at this sort of time of year in this season?
Yes, it's the start of autumn. It's the start of the lead into winter, and it's the end of the season of growth. Harvests have been brought in, etc. And our bodies follow cycles like the seasons do. So for the human being, it's also a period of change, and it's an interesting one because for many people it's a period that they perceive as a kick-off period, a start period. It's the beginning of the new academic year, and a lot of adults' lives also function around the academic year, so it's very much a starting of new things, whilst at the same time it's a drawing in and quieting down and reflecting on, what growth has occurred in the year, as we bring ourselves to that place of thinking about what's next for us, and as we head towards the winter when it's proper hibernation season. So I'm not saying that this season is a season of closing off, but it's a season of reflection in terms of what do we need to do next, looking back at what we've done so far to draw things to a conclusion, and recognising that with those cycles of energy, spring is, isn't it? And then summer is just all the glory, and now it's kind of like that slow down and reflection phase. So it's important that we recognise that and honour that within our own bodies as well as in our daily lives.
I think that's really helpful because I know I used to very much feel like, the summer's over, I've got to go back to school, and saw it as quite a negative thing, but actually, as we've said, it's such a beautiful time of year. And what sort of, perhaps daily practices or what sort of practical things can we be doing to perhaps embrace the season and get the most out of it that's going to help our well-being? Any tips?
Well, this year everyone's been talking about self-care, so I try not to use that term, and yet how can you not? And so of course this is definitely a time for really looking at what we're doing with our lives, who our interactions are with, where we're overextending ourselves, where we're maybe not giving as much energy as we might have preferred to, and then do a bit of a re-evaluation around that. So starting to look at, I've been doing too much of that and it hasn't really served me or my purpose, so bringing that back in. And that can be a very difficult thing to embrace because we live in a society that is looking for ongoing increases in productivity and profitability and so on and so forth. That's all an illusion. We should just leave that all behind and come back to the source of our connection. Then it's very much about how do we recognise that now is a time for contemplation and preparation for the hardness of winter and reflection on the successes. And just I'm waffling, I know, now.
No, you're good. I'm still with you.
But bringing those ideas all into one place, so that you then become, because when you serve yourself well, you serve your family, your loved ones, your community well also. Whereas if you just keep on doing something where you feel like, I'm overgiving, I'm overextending, you're not serving anybody, least of all yourself and least of all God. So it's very much about recognising where it's working and where it's not, and bringing some sense of balance into each of those different areas of your life. So reflection, prayer, meditation are all means of really tapping into what's good, what needs more, what needs less, and using the season, using the equinox as a almost like a sort of like launch pad for that evaluation and reflection period.
Thank you, Ellie. That's really, really helpful. So it is, as you say, it is a really lovely time to reevaluate. We've all been through this very strange period, haven't we? And now there is a sense of it's a new season, and a good opportunity to examine how we're spending our time, what our priorities are, why we're doing things, is it through habit or expectation of other people? And actually that's a real gift, isn't it, to be thinking, yeah, I have a choice over how I spend my time and how I care for myself and how that interacts with caring for others. So thank you, that's really, really helpful.